You don't fall in love with random people. You fall in love with patterns, with faces that feel like déjà vu, with tones that sound like home, even when they hurt, with silences that match the ones you grew up with. Maybe you've noticed it too, how you keep ending up in the same kind of story. Different names, same ache. You promise yourself, never again. And then somehow, it happens again. Same chase, same high, same heartbreak. Why do we keep loving people who hurt us in familiar ways? Why do we call anxiety chemistry and avoidance mystery? Why do we crave people who make us feel small, unseen, or unchosen, and feel bored with the ones who treat us right? A woman named Clara once told me about her pattern. Every man she loved started the same way, intense, magnetic, alive. The first few weeks felt electric. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, checked her phone every few minutes, counted hours between replies like counting heartbeats. But after the rush came the silence. He'd pull away. She'd try harder. He'd withdraw more. And when it finally ended, she'd swear she'd never go through that again. But months later, the cycle repeated, just with a new face. When I asked what those men had in common, she said, they all made me feel like I had to earn love. Then she paused. Actually, that's how I felt with my dad. That's where this story begins, not with romance, but with memory. We think attraction starts in adulthood, but it doesn't. It starts in childhood, when your nervous system learns what love feels like. Not the love you deserved, but the love you experienced. If love came with inconsistency, your body learns to associate uncertainty with connection. If love meant caretaking, you equate peace with boredom and chaos with intimacy. If love meant walking on eggshells, you'll confuse adrenaline for passion. Freud called this repetition compulsion, the unconscious drive to repeat early pain in an attempt to master it. It's your brain saying, maybe this time I can win. You don't want the pain, you want the ending to change. The irony is your mind doesn't seek what's healthy, it seeks what's familiar. And what's familiar feels safe, even if it's slowly destroying you. Science backs this up. Studies from Harvard and Columbia show that the limbic system, the emotional brain, is wired to prefer the known over the unknown, even when the known is painful. That's why people leave abusive relationships and end up in another just like it. It's not weakness, it's conditioning. Your attachment style, whether secure, anxious, or avoidant, is the blueprint written by your first bonds. When you were small, you looked to your caregiver not just for food, but for emotional regulation. If they were inconsistent, you learned that love means pursuit. If they were distant, you learned that love means performance. If they were safe, you learned that love means rest. But here's the cruel trick. The anxious child grows into the adult who chases unavailable people. The avoidant child becomes the adult who runs when it gets too close. Both are replaying their origin story. One trying to earn love, the other trying to survive it. It's not random that you fall for someone who triggers your deepest wounds. It's your nervous system trying to find resolution in the only language it knows. Clara's story isn't rare. You see it everywhere. The woman who keeps dating emotionally cold men because warmth feels suspicious. The man who keeps choosing partners who need rescuing because he only feels worthy when he's fixing someone. The friend who stays in relationships full of highs and lows because calm feels like disinterest. We don't love people who are right for us. We love people who feel like home, even if home was full of storms. Neuroscientist Amir Levine calls this attachment hunger. When your attachment needs weren't met early, your brain becomes hypervigilant to any sign that someone might meet them now. That's why love feels intoxicating at first. Your dopamine spikes like fireworks. But when that person pulls away, your cortisol rises, your stress response activates, and your body goes into withdrawal. It's the same biochemical cycle as addiction. And the withdrawal from inconsistent affection hurts more than the absence of affection itself. This is why people stay in toxic relationships. Not because they're foolish, but because intermittent reward, a mix of love and rejection, creates the strongest form of psychological attachment. Skinner proved this decades ago. When rewards are unpredictable, the brain releases more dopamine, hooking you to the pattern. Love mixed with uncertainty creates the most powerful addiction there is. And yet, you're not addicted to them. You're addicted to the feeling of maybe. Maybe they'll change. Maybe this time I'll be enough. Maybe I can heal the story through them. You're not chasing love. You're chasing repair, trying to prove to your younger self that this time, the ending will be different. But love that must be earned isn't love. It's anxiety dressed as devotion. Think about the people who made you feel calm. Maybe you said they were too nice or not my type. That's not chemistry missing. That's your nervous system misreading safety as boredom. It doesn't recognize peace yet. It only knows adrenaline. A therapist once said, people mistake predictability for disinterest. But stability is what love looks like when it grows up. Daniel grew up with a mother who was brilliant, charismatic, and deeply unstable. When she was happy, the house glowed. When she was sad, everyone tiptoed. As a boy, he learned to read her moods before she spoke, to fix, to soothe, to anticipate. Love, for him, meant earning calm. As an adult, Daniel fell for women who mirrored that storm. They were captivating, wounded, hard to reach. He became the caretaker, the emotional medic, always promising, I'll be the one who finally heals you. But every time he tried, he lost himself. It took years in therapy for him to realize he wasn't looking for love. He was looking for redemption. He was trying to rescue the child version of himself who couldn't rescue his mother. Neuroscience calls this the dopamine-cortisol loop. During highs, dopamine floods the reward circuit. During lows, cortisol and norepinephrine surge, creating stress. The cycle of pleasure and pain intertwines, teaching your brain that survival equals chasing relief. Trauma bonding thrives on intermittent reinforcement, affection followed by withdrawal. Each reunion releases oxytocin and dopamine, strengthening the bond despite the damage. In MRI scans, this cycle mirrors substance addiction. Craving, crash, repeat. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the rational voice saying, this is wrong, is hijacked by the amygdala screaming, don't lose them. So you justify, forgive, rationalize. You mistake the absence of calm for the presence of love. Breaking this cycle isn't about willpower. It's about retraining the nervous system. It means teaching your body that peace isn't danger, that consistency isn't dullness, that calm can coexist with passion. Emma didn't chase love, she ran from it. Every time someone cared too much, she felt trapped. She'd ghost after the third date, avoid calls, make excuses like, I just need space. But what she really feared was disappearing. Growing up, love meant losing freedom. Her parents were over-involved, controlling Eve. Growing up, love meant losing freedom. Her parents were over-involved, controlling every move. So as an adult, independence became her oxygen. She built walls and called them standards. When people tried to get close, she labeled them clingy. But deep down, she was lonely, desperately lonely. It wasn't until therapy that she learned about avoidant attachment, a defense built to protect connection by avoiding it. When she started healing, something strange happened. She began to crave closeness but panic when it arrived. That's the nervous system relearning safety. She practiced small doses of vulnerability, answering texts, keeping plans, sharing small truths. Slowly, her body learned that intimacy didn't equal invasion. That being seen didn't mean being swallowed. Love didn't have to cost her identity. It could help her expand it. Healing love feels uncomfortable at first. Peace can feel like rejection when all you've known is chaos. When someone doesn't raise their voice, your nervous system wonders if they even care. When no argument follows, your brain whispers, something's missing. That's not boredom. That's your body detoxing from adrenaline. The first time someone loves you calmly, it feels offbeat. You keep waiting for the drop, the drama, the test. But it never comes. And that's when you realize how used you were to surviving, not living. At first, you want to run back to what's familiar, the unpredictable texts, the emotional roller coaster, the highs and lows that made you feel alive. But alive isn't the same as aligned. You can feel calm and still be deeply in love. Someone once told me, fast love burns bright, slow love builds light. It's true. There was a man named Noah who used to fall fast. First dates turned into declarations. Within weeks, he was all in, gifts, plans, promises. But every relationship crashed the same way. One day, he met someone who didn't rush. She took her time. She didn't reply right away, not out of games, but because she had a full life. She showed affection slowly, with steadiness instead of spark. At first, Noah panicked. His old wiring screamed, "She doesn't care." But when he stayed long enough, he felt something new. Calm joy. Love that didn't rush, didn't rescue, didn't collapse under pressure. Love that walked instead of ran. That's how healing love feels, like walking home in the rain instead of chasing a storm. It's slower, quieter, but it lasts. The polyvagal theory explains this shift beautifully. When you experience safe relationships, your vagus nerve, the one that regulates your heartbeat, your breath, your sense of safety, begins to calm. Your body literally exits survival mode. The warmth in your chest, the slowing breath, the gentle exhale, that's biology saying you're safe now. And when you're safe, you can finally love without fear. But after years of chaos, safety itself can feel strange. The fear of safe love is real. It's the moment you sit in quiet and your brain screams, something's wrong. It's the panic that comes when no one is arguing. You wait for the explosion that never arrives. This fear is your nervous system detoxing from adrenaline and unpredictability. It's biology, not brokenness. Psychologists call this dopamine recalibration. Your brain, once addicted to emotional spikes, needs time to learn that peace can also feel rewarding. At first, you might miss the thrill, the tension, the fire. But with time, you'll realize that calm isn't emptiness, it's stability. You're not bored, you're healing. And healing has its own grief. After years of mistaking intensity for love, you might mourn the chaos that once felt like home. That's normal. You're grieving who you had to be to survive. You're saying goodbye to the version of you that chased, fixed, and overgave. Grief isn't just for loss, it's also for growth. In the quiet that follows, something else arrives. Presence. You start noticing small things, how your breath feels easier, how mornings don't start with anxiety, how peace begins to feel like power. The love you once begged for begins to live inside you. This is what relearning intimacy looks like. It's not grand gestures or sweeping declarations. It's choosing to stay open even when fear whispers, run. It's trusting softness after decades of armor. It's realizing that love is not a rescue mission. It's a resting place. One day, you'll meet someone and not mistake their calm for lack of passion. You'll stop equating comfort with danger. And when you do, love will stop being a battle and start being a rhythm, steady, kind, alive. Because when the nervous system heals, love becomes what it was always meant to be. Not a test, but a truth. You are never hard to love. You just learn love in a hard way. And now, you're unlearning the storm. Peace may not give you butterflies, but it will give you roots. And that's what real love grows from. There's a part of healing no one prepares you for. The after the last fight ends, after the last door closes gently instead of slamming, after the last apology you will ever write to someone who did not read you with care. The after is strange and spacious. You look around and realize how much room drama took up in your life, how many hours you donated to decoding mixed signals, how many ordinary joys you postponed for the promise of a cinematic reunion that never came. When quiet returns, the nervous system doesn't celebrate. It panics. It asks, where is the chaos that kept me company? Some nights the grief sneaks up on you. Not grief for them, but grief for you. For the years you did not know how to care for yourself, for the birthdays you spent pretending you were fine, for the friendships you neglected while trying to keep a dying relationship on life support. You cry and think, I should be over this by now. Listen, grief is not a checklist. It moves like weather. Let pass through. Every time you feel it, and stay kind to yourself. You teach your body that sadness is survivable without punishment. Dopamine recalibration sounds clinical, but live from the inside, it feels like the first week after you quit coffee. Your mornings are dull. Your head is foggy. You're not broken. You are balancing. When love stops arriving in spikes and crashes, your brain needs time to recognize steadiness as satisfying. You build that recognition with rituals. The walk you take after dinner to feel your feet on the earth. The way you turn your phone face down when you are with someone you care about. The 5 breaths you take before replying when your old pattern flares up. These are micro signals to your nervous system. We are safe. We can wait. We don't need to rush. Relearning intimacy is not a TED Talk. It is Tuesday night. It is asking for a hug when you would normally power through. It is saying, I feel scared, and letting the sentence end there without self-judgment or a joke to soften it. It is noticing that your shoulders climb toward your ears in conflict and dropping them by 1 inch. Intimacy grows when you let small truths be seen and nothing bad happens. Your nervous system needs evidence more than advice. So collect evidence. Keep a record of the moments where you were honest and the world did not collapse. If you fall in love in this season, love will feel different because you are different. You will not audition for a role. You will collaborate on a story. You will not sell your silence for closeness. You will not call neglect a test. You will bring your needs to the table like clean dishes and ask, can we eat together? And a healthy partner will not be scared by your hunger. They will be glad you can name it. They will bring their hunger too. 2 people who can describe their needs can feed each other, not drain each other. Please remember, safety does not mean sameness. Calm is not the enemy of mystery. In stable love, you will still be surprised by the way their eyes change color in summer, by the joke they tell to the waiter, by the new idea that moves them to tears on a random drive. Stability simply means your nervous system is not bracing for impact while you notice these details. You can focus on wonder when you're not monitoring for withdrawal. There will be days when the old pattern knocks politely. It will dress up as nostalgia, as a song you used to share, as a social media memory with perfect lighting. It will whisper, you were happier then. But nostalgia is a selective archivist. It edits out the hours you spent waiting, the room that smelled like arguments, the panic that stole your appetite. When that knock comes, answer with the full record. Read yourself the whole story. Then close the door gently. Maturity is not bitterness. It is accuracy without rage. You might be afraid that with higher standards, you will end up alone. But aloneness has a spectrum too. There is lonely alone, and there is peaceful alone. Lonely alone is full of hunger and bargaining. Peaceful alone is full of choice. On some nights, you will cook for yourself and feel a holiness in the quiet. On some weekends, you will miss the chaos and go for a long drive instead. You will learn that your own company has chapters you have not read because you are always chasing a cameo in someone else's movie. If you need a place to start, start with your breath. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Teach your body to end longer than it began. Practice with the small things. Closing your laptop at a reasonable hour, walking in the nearest patch of green, reading one poem slowly, texting a friend thinking of you without expecting a rapid reply. The practice of slow living becomes the posture of slow loving. And slow loving does not mean the love is small. It means the love has roots strong enough to outlast the storm. Eventually, there will be a morning when you catch your reflection and realize your eyes look rested. The world did not get easier. Your inner world got kinder. You are not flinching when people speak your name. You are not scared of good news. You have become someone you trust to make a home inside any season. The person who once searched rooms for danger now searches rooms for beauty. You have not lost your sensitivity. You have refined it. You feel deeply without being swallowed. This is the part of the story I wish we told more often. Not just how to leave what hurts, but how to arrive where healing is. Arriving looks like ordinary days that accumulate into a life you do not want to escape. You water your plants. You answer emails kindly. You take pictures of the sky and send them to someone who gets it. You build a love that fits your nervous system like a well-made jacket. Not tight with performance, not baggy with indifference, but tailored by honesty and ease. When the right kind of love stands at your door, you will recognize it by the way your body behaves. Your shoulders will lower. Your jaw will unclench. Your breathing will deepen as if the room just added windows. You will not feel the urge to betray yourself to be chosen. You will not ask, "What version of me do they want?" You will ask, "What version of us are we growing?" And then you will go water that garden together. If someday this love ends, you will not rewrite the entire story as an error. You will carry its lessons forward like tools, not scars. You will bless it for what it built in you. The courage to tell the truth, the taste for gentle mornings, the proof that love can be both steady and thrilling in the same lifetime. In this way, every love that is lived with presence contributes to the next person you become. So here is the quiet benediction I want to leave in your hands. You are allowed to outgrow the version of you that needed a storm to feel alive. You are allowed to want a life that looks simple from the outside and feels profound on the inside. You are allowed to be chosen in ways that never make you perform. You are allowed to choose yourself first and discover that this is how you finally choose someone else well. One day, you will notice the light in your home at 4 p.m. and think, "I made this." Not the furniture, the atmosphere, the peace, the music playing low, the absence of panic, the presence of a love that does not leave you guessing. You will step onto your balcony or your front steps or into your small kitchen and feel a thrill that does not spike like a graph. It hums like a held note. It is the sound of a nervous system that finally believes what your heart has been trying to say. I am safe here. I am loved here. I am home.